This is Canada Reads American Style, featuring two friends who love Canada Reads and Canadian literature. Welcome our host Rebecca from Michigan and Tara from Ontario.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Canada Reads American Style. This is Tara and I'm here with a special guest today, author Emily Weedon. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you so much, Tara. I'm just delighted to be here.
I'm delighted to have you. Okay, so before we start, let me introduce Emily a little more formally. So Emily Weedon is a Canadian author and screenwriter currently living in Toronto. Her web series, Chateau Laurier, was the most awarded web series in 2023 and won a Canadian Screen Award. Her debut novel, Autokrator, reimagines gender and power in society against the backdrop of a dystopian world. I'm going to butt in myself here and say that Emily this is her second time on the podcast. So after her the publication of her first novel, she spoke to Rebecca. We'll put a link in the show notes for that interview so you can learn a little more about her first novel if you haven't yet read it. Her new novel, Hemo Sapiens, will be released into the world on September 30th from Dundurn Press. It is an erotic noir thriller that reimagines vampires through a lens of female sexuality and anthropology. It's so good. I read it over the summertime, and if you feel like a little feminist vampire story, this is the book for you. Great. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you so much. That was a great introduction.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. It's interesting. We are picking up, this is in some ways the flip side of the coin from Autokrator. A lot of interesting similar issues. Everyone talked about female rage in Autokrator. I guess there's some of that in this. I guess it's more female homicide, perhaps.
That's okay too.
Secret societies of women. They both have that going on. There's a subterranean element in both books. And, you don't realize until you look back and you're like, oh, there's some touchstones. So it's sort of interesting.
It is. You want to tell us a little bit more about the story of Hemo Sapiens?
Yeah, sure. It centers around Luke Stockton and his wife who's expecting. He is a detective and she's expecting their first child, and the novel opens with a series of puzzling murders that are happening in a very specific Toronto that we recognize. Anybody who lives or visits would recognize Toronto, and the murders are unlike anything else that he'd seen before. And eventually what is driving these murders, of course, comes to imperil both Luke and his wife. And he gets just drawn down into a circle of intrigue and danger and mystery and secret societies and powerful women. Yeah. And it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. I like what you said about Toronto, because I found that you showed two sides of Toronto. Like there's a gritty side.
Yep.
That we all know, and then there was the fancy side, like when
you go side. There's definitely elements of high and low. I've lived in Toronto for a very long time, so I tried to capture not only some of the different areas of Toronto that you don't see, like the waterfront before it got revitalized in parts, the disappearing warehouses that I spent a lot of time in during the 90s as a young person. There was a lot more grit in Toronto, and there is a lot more sort of bling there now. And I wanted to pay attention and pay tribute to all of those sort of sides. Because it is a city of contrasts.
So in Hemo Sapiens, you also explore pregnancy and the wellness industry. Mm-hmm. Why do these two issues meld so well with a vampire story?
Yeah, the very first idea I had for Hemo, the as the French say, coup de foudre, the lightning bolt, that was the first idea was, what if pregnancy cravings explained vampires, right? Because we all know about the joke about pickles and ice cream and stuff like that. And, having gone through a pregnancy myself, my child is built out of pork and peaches pretty much exclusively. Yeah. Those were the building blocks for her. And I read a really fascinating book years ago that I've gone back to several times, nonfiction, Leonard Schlein's Sex, Time, and Power, where he talks about the increasing need in humans for iron. And that iron grew cranial capacity. Cranial capacity made birth more difficult. And these things had an indelible impact on uh, how we relate to pregnancy, what pregnancy does to us, how it shaped our, not only our bodies, our evolution, but our culture as well. So I wanted to tie, get rid of all of the like priests and religion and coffins and stuff like that, and look at the animal uh, body. We're mammals. These are processes that we go through. And kind of get rid of some of the supernatural aspects of vampirism and think instead about anthropology, different species, stuff like that. And pregnancy is horrific. Like,
It
it's
is.
horrific. We've sanitized it in a lot of ways and tried to make it, the birth complex, I think I've heard it referred to, and it isn't just a process. It is one of the most important rites, one of the most important passageways that every human passes through. So I wanted to pay tribute to some of that stuff. And then this business of what I think of as the beauty industrial complex, right? Even though women remain animals and natural, we spend all this time and money and effort on all of this, right?
Yeah.
Trying to stave off aging. And aging, of course, is a big theme in vampires, immortality, stuff like that. So we're chasing immortality through beauty and processes. So I'm poking a little bit of fun at the idea of process, the idea of beauty as industry. And of course, the med spa is a cover for something else that's going on in the book, as readers will find.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the pork and peaches thing. My firstborn was developed on steak and rice pudding. That
I
was
love
her,
it.
like,
I love
when I
it.
think back to it, I'm like, it was steak and rice puddings. And I'm not, actually, I'm a vegetarian now, but I've never been a steak person. And my husband would come home and I would be frying up a steak and he'd be like, who the hell
What's
are you?
happened?
And I'm like, I need it. I just,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Well,
yeah.
that's a thing called pica. Pica is a condition that they've noted that I think some animals can have it as well, but that women have, where when they're pregnant, they need minerals, they need iron, they need many things, and they've been documented, eating dirt
Hmm.
because there's minerals in the dirt, right? So if you're in a starvation situation, it's been documented that people will look for nutrients outside of traditional food per se. So yeah, and I thought I was sort of playing with the idea that heme or blood, that the pica is for that. So
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, okay. I like that whole, thinking back on the book, and that
mm,
whole biological drive is there. It's very cool. Yeah.
yes, yeah. I think it's an interesting thing to explore, especially as we become more mechanized, more surrounded by apps, computers, unfortunately AI, all of that stuff. We're being driven to the digital, but we are biological. There are other things going on. So reminding us
Hmm.
of that is
Yeah.
good, I think.
Hmm. Here's a quote from the book that I particularly enjoyed. But her kind were rulers, his kind were sheep. I love that quote. Can you discuss flipping the power gender roles in your book?
Right. Yeah. I didn't really set out to make like Amazon women. It just sort of it unfurled as I was writing it. And it was a lot of fun to flip the script on the idea of the typical victim, mostly through vampire stories. It's always the fainting Victorian lady, and that, relates to romance, the old romances, Chrétien de Troyes, the idea of the imperiled maiden kind of thing. I wanted to get away from that. And I wanted to tie back to the idea of women as animals, as mammals, and we all have this image of like a mama bear or a tiger or predators, wolves that have offspring. And the joke is, you don't get between a mother and her
Hmm.
children unless you want to get messed with. So I liked the idea of playing with that, making these women extremely powerful, more powerful than men, but under the radar.
Yeah.
And that's a classic femme fatale kind of thing, that your true nature is a bit masked,
Yeah.
and that these men just don't know what they're dealing with. And I liked the idea as well that humans, what's the piece from the Bible that God gives dominion over the earth to humans, right? So we think of ourselves as the top of the chain. And I really liked the idea of knocking humans off the top of that chain and saying, oh no, there's somebody much more powerful.
Yeah. Well, I really liked your main character Luke, because he is set up to be our main character at the beginning, the police officer, the one who seems to be in charge.
Right.
And I love that as he's going through it, like he's a good guy. He's a
He's a
good
good
guy,
guy. Yep.
but
Yep.
he bumbled. Like you could tell that he was out of his
He's out of his depth.
he's out of
Totally.
his depths. Yeah.
Yeah.
He really,
Oh,
once it became obvious to him that he was no longer the one in control.
yeah. Yeah. See, one of the things I wanted to really delve into a lot of times in a genre space, we just sort of, oh, this is a world where there are ghosts. Oh, this is a world where there are aliens. Oh, this is a world where there are vampires. And I wanted to think, I love the collision of how would an actual homicide detective actually deal with a body if it showed up and vampires were real.
Hmm.
um, this was a little bit inspired by a 3-part Dracula series that came out several years ago, where the coup moment for the vampire is he uses the legal system to go, mm-mm, you
Mm,
can't get me. And I thought, oh, how clever.
yeah.
And then I thought, what would happen in the judicial system? What would happen with the medical system? What would happen with the legal system if such a thing as vampires actually existed? So Luke can only look at the world through the lenses he's been given, traditional police work and criminology, but he's dealing with something much bigger. And he is himself targeted. So yeah, he's over his head very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we can't not discuss the role of anthropology
Yes.
and the character Lauren, our disgraced archaeologist.
Yes,
Yeah.
our fame hungry, Instagram crazy
Hmm.
wannabe professor. I love Lauren.
Me
She
too.
was a treat to write, and there's a lot of morally gray characters in this book, and Lauren is one of them. I want us to like her and root for her, but at the same time, kind of recognize some of our worst nature in that, that hunger for likes and that hunger for wanting to achieve something without having worked for it
Hmm.
completely. Lauren wants to take some shortcuts in her career and believes herself to sort of already be famous, just not discovered yet. So that's her whole MO, right? But she was also very much created as a device to explore some of the anthropology and to exposit some of the anthropology parts to the reader in a way that's fun and palatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great way to introduce science and
Yes.
biology, like to really base your vampire mythology in science.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a way, it's funny. People have picked up that this is a genre crossover. It's a thriller horror. It's also literary, but it's also technically sci-fi.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
just most people don't write the sci based on things like archaeology or anthropology so much. It's usually hard sciences, math, physics, space travel,
Yeah.
etc., robots, whatever. But this is still sci-fi.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, yeah, it's so much. It's so much. When you say that, it's like so much in there, more than just a vampire story.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
I love it when books have a sort of second or third level of sell, and when they don't talk down,
Hmm.
when they give you maybe more than you expected. It's like getting a free dessert at the
Yeah.
restaurant. It's a little more, a little something to sink your teeth into.
Yeah. As a reader, I enjoy it too. Especially when you've taken, there's some space in between reading it and then it comes back to you and you get a chance to think about it some more and then you see other stuff like kind of opens up in your brain. It's like a
That's
really
great.
fun
That's
experience.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think things like, The Name of the Rose, or Hannibal and Silence of the Lambs,
Hmm.
so intelligently written, right? And
Yeah.
it does just that. It echoes, it sticks with you. You feel like you're a smarter person for reading those books,
Yeah.
And I wanted to, I'm a nerd, I wanted
Me
to speak
too.
to my fellow nerds and give them something to dig into.
Yep. Well, thank you from a fellow nerd.
Excellent.
Okay, let's take a little turn here and tell us about drunk fiction.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I guess almost a year and a half ago now. I was trotting out my first book, and I think like all debut authors, I thought I would sit back and wait for the invitations to pour in,
Hmm.
and I got one invitation to go read at something, and of course immediately fell into a deep despair and thought, oh God, no one will ever know anything about my book. And I made an event called Drunk Fiction, invited several other people, and it went really well. People showed up. When you do a book reading, you don't know if anyone's going to show up.
Yeah.
And and then I quickly realized everybody is in exactly the same boat of disappearing media, disappearing reviews, disappearing opportunities, festivals going under. And we're in a time when I think authors always had to promote their own book quite a bit, but really it is incumbent almost 100% on an author to get their stuff out there, especially in the indie publishing space. Big five still have a bit more uh, resources, I suppose, for
Hmm.
authors, but it is really incumbent on authors, regardless, to do the push. And so I realized, well, if no one's going to invite you, you make a thing and you invite other people, and it's really quite taken off. We have 40 to sometimes 60 people once a month crowd into the Caledonian, and we read, we have beverages, not necessarily alcohol, it's up
Hmm.
to you. And more than anything, we just hang. It's like a clubhouse
Yeah.
and a support group, and it's fun because I find a lot of readings can tend to get quite dour in these dark times we live in.
Hmm.
And the idea is, let your hair down, relax, have fun. It's a fun event,
Yeah.
and people have
Uh,
really responded.
where is the Caledonian?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Caledonian is on College Street, 856 College Street in Toronto.
Okay.
So it's in the West End, and it's run by this wonderful lady Donna, who's Scottish, and she's the type of bar owner who will, if she saw you sitting at the bar and saw me sitting there, she'd say, "Oh, Tara, Emily, Tara," and then off she goes, and then suddenly, without realizing what's happened, two Torontonians who should be stuck up and not talking to each other
Yeah.
chit chatting. That's what I love about that place.
That's amazing. And was
Yeah.
this monthly? Did you say like monthly or?
Every month, and
Yeah.
Tara, I'm tired.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot
Once
of
a month,
work.
we do this thing. I need a whole day to recover afterwards.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. And we've sold hundreds of books. Like
That's amazing.
hundreds of books of other people's books have been moved through there. It's been amazing.
That is amazing. So cool.
Oh, thanks.
I have to try and get myself to one of those sometime.
Please do make a
Yeah.
reservation.
Okay. Okay. Good to know.
Yep.
Good
I
to know.
recommend the fish and chips, and you can't beat the selection of whiskey they've got from all over. It's just amazing.
Awesome. Good to
Yeah.
know. Okay. My favorite way to end an interview is to ask you what you are currently reading, what you have read recently that really sticks out that you want to share with us, because I
Right.
love to grow my TBR. It can't be too long.
I am partway through. I can show you some of the books too.
Yeah.
I'm partway through Knausgård's Wolves of Eternity, so I'm just starting that. I
Yeah.
really like his writing style. I read The Morning Star, and it like just powered through it. I don't really know what's going on with his writing, why it draws you in so deeply, because a
Yeah.
lot of it is quite banal. But just right there. So that's the last thing I look at night before I go to sleep. I'm sipping away at it.
Beautiful.
And I'll just get up for one quick sec.
Okay.
I'm always 3, 4, 5 books on the go, and I'm doing a panel at Word on the Street on the 28th.
Okay.
And I'm gonna run that panel. And so we've got this Jessica Popeski. It's The Problem with Having a Body. It's a very cool cover.
Oh yeah.
That's poetry. And then David A. Robertson's All the Little Monsters. This is memoir.
Excellent.
Right? And then Matthew J. Trafford's just recently released Runs in the Blood. This is short stories. And I gotta say, the opening short story makes me think of David Lynch's Eraserhead a lot. It's a really interesting rethink on that. So 3 very, very, very different books, 3 different, approaches completely, and we'll be talking about monsters. So
that's so all on the same panel.
Yeah. I mean, well, I'm sure you found this whenever you hear 2, 3, or 4 writers, there's always a through line. There's always some really fascinating piece of connective tissue between those books. So that's I can't wait for this panel. It'll be a lot of fun.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Emily.
Thank you. And I'm just going to say, please do run out and grab a copy of Hemo Sapiens. And
available September 30th.
It's trickling out. It's in a few places already, which is cool. Hamilton, the City and the City Books has copies ready to go.
Great little bookstore.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't wait to get out there and see people at events and meet folks who love vampires.
And it is the perfect October fall read.
Thank you.
I mean, I read vampire and horror books all year round, but if you are someone who likes a little scariness into your fall reading, then please pick up Hemo Sapiens.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for having me on, Tara.
Thank you, Emily, and happy reading, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us on our bookish journey. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing Canada Reads American Style wherever you listen. You can connect with the podcast and Rebecca on Instagram at Canada Reads American Style, and with Tara at On a Branch Reads. Until next time, keep reading.